Hi folks, Scott Parman, your buyer specialist. Today for Ask a Pro, we're learning about green building. I'm here with Luke Owen of Owen Homes, a custom builder based out of Smithville, Missouri. And Luke is really leading the charge with his company on lowering the environmental impact of new home construction here in the Northland. So he's even developing the first neighborhood in the Northland with the goal of every home in it being LEED and Energy Star certified. So Luke, appreciate you taking some time today. This is really a very new topic to a lot of people. So how do you define green building? What's it mean?
Yeah, I would define green building as the materials and also the methods that are used to make a house more energy efficient in the long run, as well as use less energy over the course of the life of those systems within that house, as well as the house itself. So it's a balance of figuring out what materials you can use that are more environmentally responsible, as well as the methods of installing those materials so that the house is going to use less energy and operate more efficiently over the long haul.
Okay, so it's not just pulling something off a shelf with a certain sticker on it.
No, a lot of companies think that you need to add a green label on it so that they can charge twice as much, but really if it all just boils down to practical steps that everyone can take to have a house that operates more efficiently.
Okay, so are there governing bodies or certifications now that at least help a builder or a homeowner understand what might be a better choice?
Yeah, every house that's built in our city, depending on what codes municipality you're under, is going to have some form of energy requirements built in it. As part of the building codes that we all abide by, there are more and more energy codes that are implemented into these houses. So right now, most of the municipalities are under the 2012 building code, which also has the 2012 energy code in it. And each municipality will take that and they'll implement features of that they want to see in their building. But also, more importantly, for most homeowners is the ability of a third-party certification method. And so the U.S. Green Build Council and also Energy Star, they have specialized people who will go in, do an audit on a house, make sure everything is operating as it should. And that third-party verification is really the key to having a LEED certification and Energy Star certification on the house, because that's not just a contractor telling a homeowner, you should do this and this and this so I can charge more. It's a third-party individual who has no stake in the game saying, yeah, you need to follow this, this, and this to have this house meet these expectations.
Okay, and you'd mentioned LEED certification. That's something really more on the manufacturer of the goods side, isn't it?
It can be. There's both a prescriptive method of saying we're going to do this, 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 and this, or there's a performance method that you can take that says this house overall performs at this level. So it depends on really what rating you're going into, and that's where we will rely on in these projects that we're going to be doing at Urban North, as well as others that we're beginning. We rely on these third-party certification experts to come in and tell us, hey, here's your best opportunity to make sure that you meet the qualifications for the house.
Okay, so specifically you mentioned your development, Urban North, and in some of the other projects you do, what are some of the actual methods and products that you would use to reduce that environmental impact for your projects?
Well, the biggest ones that we will do is we'll look at insulation, because insulation is a key with the weather that we have. It's a vital to making sure that house is going to operate efficiently. Beyond that, the windows and doors are the next biggest thing, because you can insulate the wall as well as you want, but as long as you've got holes in the wall that air can blow through, you've really not really accomplished anything. So insulation, windows and doors are key, and then furnace and air conditioner efficiencies are also important, because those are, with the weather that we have, it can range from -12, I think, like this past January, up to I think it was 110 in June of 2012, I think it hit. So we have an extreme range of weather, and so this furnaces, air conditioners, those are operating almost nonstop throughout the course of the year. Also, we'll look at smaller steps within the house, such as light fixtures, light bulbs, faucets, appliances, all these things that just use smaller amounts of energy throughout the course of the day, which adds up over a month, over years of time of each of those fixtures. So we'll look at the big picture things like the insulation of the furnace, but also the smaller things like faucets and light fixtures, because those are things that you can have a pretty easy impact of saying those are going to save you money over the course of that fixture.
Okay, so it sounds like those are things that you do with new projects, but these are probably things that maybe a homeowner can choose to do day to day to help the efficiency of their home.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that, whether it's a brand new house or whether it's an existing house, there's a lot of different things that can be implemented to save money, which is really that's at the heart of green building. It's using those materials responsibly, but also using less energy overall. And so there's simple ways like switching out the old incandescent light bulbs with a compact fluorescent that cuts down 80% of
Wow, that's a lot.
the electricity just on that one light bulb, and you take that over a whole house where there's 30 to 60 light bulbs in a typical house. That's a lot of energy right there that's being saved. Other things that are as simple as putting curtains on the windows, because you've got that sun blasting in through the windows in the summer, and just blocking out that solar heat gain makes a big difference. There's other more expensive steps that can be taken, like adding more insulation in the attic. I always ask people, after the winter when it snows a little bit, if your roof still has snow on it and all your neighbors have already melted off, that means they're losing a lot of heat out of their house and they need more insulation in the attic. So it's a pretty simple drive-by test to say, okay, yeah, my roof has snow on it still, I'm good. If your roof is the first to melt on the block, that means that you're losing the most heat out of your house into your attic.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant tip.
Yeah, there's little ways to just make sure that you're not losing heat. And air conditioning, because it's just always something. It's always either really hot, really cold. There's a lot of wind that we get here that pushes against the house, and that creates its own energy loss as well. So, there's small things like faucets and light bulbs. There's large things like switching out your furnace for a higher efficiency model, more insulation in the attic, higher efficiency windows and doors. It just depends on where your house is at as far as what your biggest concern is.
Okay. Well, you've kind of touched on it, but it sounds like green doesn't necessarily have to cost a lot more.
There's usually a higher upfront cost.
Right.
And I like to think of it as, does it cost more to buy a salad or a bag of potato chips? Well, the salad costs more up front, but after you eat the same thing for 30 years, you're probably going to have lower maintenance costs of your body than eating, the cheaper option that's just easier to fork over the money to buy French fries and to buy chips and processed food. So just like that, your house is a much bigger cost and expense of what our budgets are typically. And so if you take your insulation, you pay a little bit more up front, but typically you get that money back over the next 3 to 5 years, and then every year after that you're saving money. So green usually will cost maybe 10 to 20% more at the most, but when you look at the longevity and the overall savings of implementing that method, in the long run it saves money. And that's when you've implemented really good green practices by saving money in the long run, because that's really what the goal is. Less energy means less money spent on energy.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing all the expertise with us about it. I love in these spots to make sure we also highlight what local businesses are doing for our economy and our workers here. Just tell us a little bit about Owen Homes, how long you've been around, how many people you employ in the area, things like that.
Sure. When we started in 2004, it was just me, and my wife helped me, and we spent countless hours running everything on the business. And over the last 10 years, we've added on so many key people onto our staff. We now have 23 people that are on our staff, as well as about 95 different subcontractor suppliers that we use. We do everything from building new houses to renovations, room additions. We do smaller kitchen renovations, bathroom renovations, Right now, we're doing a lot of storm damage from all the hail that we've hit. So
Okay.
we'll do a lot of the pieces of the house as well as the overall house. Really, as long as we can get in there and focus on the quality of the project and make sure that if someone wants the job done right and they want it done the first time and they don't have to worry about all the bad stories that they hear about people getting ripped off and cutting corners, we really try to make sure that a project that we're going to work on is it's a team effort between us, the homeowner, all of our subcontractors, suppliers, making sure that we're all on the same team trying to make sure that we get the homeowner to be able to get the product that they want, their dream kitchen, their dream home, for the best balance of investment in it. So we're not always going to be the cheapest. I hope we're not always the most expensive, but somewhere in the middle there is the part where you can say, that's a good investment. It's not a cheap job done really quick that's going to last not very long, but overall it's a good investment. So that's where the balance we try to bring to all of our projects.
Well, cool. Well, again, really appreciate you sharing with us. Folks, if you want to learn more about Luke and his business, you can see them online at owenholmeskc.com. You can call them at 816-343-6065. And if you have other real estate questions, feel free to call myself or Ron Henderson. Our numbers are here at the end of the video. Luke, thanks again for sharing. And just curious, if homeowners want to maybe look into some changes now, where can they learn a little bit more about green techniques or even local resources for changing?
I would point people to two different websites to get some pretty practical suggestions on how to implement energy efficiency into their houses. One of those would be the U.S. Green Build Council. Their website is usgbc.org. And then the other is energystar.gov. They have a lot of suggestions on there as well as contractors who can help them implement those processes. And I would also advise them to talk to Mary English over at Small Step Energy. It's a local Kansas City company that can do a home audit. They can check your energy, they can check the efficiency, and Mary English is the one that we work with over there as far as recommending different methods and processes to us. And her number is 913-708-8004 if someone wants to give her a call. And I would recommend that third-party person to come in there and just for peace of mind to say, hey, here's a couple things that you can do to have your house work more efficiently.
Perfect. Thanks again. Folks, thanks for watching. And again, all the information here at the end if you have any more questions. And look for the next episode of Ask a Pro.